Good morning. Is this a good time to buy a house in 2025? And as 2025 comes to a close, the U.S. housing market looks very different than it did just a year ago. Mortgage rates are lower than last year, home prices are softening in certain markets, and sellers are cutting prices, and listings are sitting longer. So the question many buyers are asking is simple, but the answer is not. So the question is this a good time to buy a house? And the short answer is for many buyers, conditions are improving, but the decision must be personal, not emotional or headline driven. And let's break down what's happening in today's housing market and how to decide whether buying makes sense for you. Well, let's talk a little more and help you understand the 2025 housing market. And according to Realtor.com, November's 2025 housing market trends report, the market has become more balanced compared to 2024. And that shift is meaningful for buyers who felt locked out during the ultra competitive COVID era years. And active listings are up. Active listings are 12.6 higher year over year. Now, however, listings declined 2.5% month over month as some sellers are pulling their homes off the market. The translation is there's more choices than last year, but sellers are still price sensitive. And this inventory increase gives buyers leverage, especially when listings linger on the market. And what we're seeing is more price reductions, and that generally translates into more negotiation power for the buyer side. And in November, 18% of all listings had price reductions, with the South leading the way. Now, this is critical for buyers. What it means is price cuts signal motivated sellers, and longer days on market often lead to seller concessions and rate buy downs or closing cost credits for the buyer group. And negotiation power has quietly shifted back towards buyers who are better prepared. Another observation is that homes are sitting longer on the market. The median time on market now is about 64 days in November, which is only up 3 days year over year, but it's notable. And what longer market times mean is there's less competition, and then there's fewer bidding wars for the same property. And you'll have better inspection and financing leverage. So for buyers with strong pre-approvals, this could be a strategic advantage. Now let's talk about where mortgage rates stand today. According to Freddie Mac, mortgage rates peaked at 7.04% earlier this cycle and now are hovering in the low to mid 6 range, with the average 30-year fix roughly about 6.25. Now, while that's higher than in 2020 and 2021, rates remain well below recent highs, as well as long-term historical averages. And the Federal Reserve cut the federal funds rate again in December, but mortgage rates are driven more closely by the 10-year Treasury and not Fed headlines. And the takeaway is that mortgage rates may improve modestly, and waiting for a perfect rate is a risky move. And refinancing later is always an option. Missing appreciation is not. Now let's talk about why shopping lenders matters more than ever. Many buyers unknowingly hurt themselves here. And 56% of borrowers only get one pre-approval. 45% of first-time buyers who shop multiple lenders got a better rate. And that's according to Zillow. So take it with a grain of salt. As a mortgage broker, this is where the real value shows up. We have access to multiple lenders, which allows us to be competitive on rates and more competitive than many options. And there's also seller paid buy downs and builder incentives that you can look at. And loan structures banks don't always offer is another reason a mortgage broker stands out. Let's look at new construction. There's mixed signals there, and builders remain cautious due to labor, materials, and tariff concerns. And the National Association of Home Builders has reported 41% of builders cut their prices in November. And there is slight growth expected in 2026 after a slower 2025. And builders are competing harder, which often means you can purchase below market rates because they buy money in bulk. They offer closing cost credits. And they have more flexible terms for qualified buyers. generally at a higher price than a mortgage broker would, is the trade off there. But is it a good time to buy for you, is our next segment. Market conditions matter, but personal readiness is always going to matter more. So you ask yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? Buying is a medium to a long term decision. Job stability, family plans, and lifestyle should align with ownership. And how stable is your income? Lenders favor consistency. So if your income is predictable, today's market's going to reward your preparedness. What does your credit look like? This is another segment. So for conventional loans, 620 plus, although I am seeing approvals as low as 580 with co-borrowers. And FHA has always been 580 plus with 3.5% down. And VA has no official minimum credit score, although lender overlays prevent some cases. And higher credit scores are always going to get better pricing and leverage. So work on your credit is the point there. What is your debt to income ratio? So Fannie Mae is going to prefer 36% DTI with exceptions up to 50%. So lower the debt to income ratio improves your approval strength as well as your negotiating power. Do you have reserves? So emergency savings and down payment funds reduce risk and improve underwriting outcomes. So here's the final thought. The best time is when the numbers work. So this market is going to reward buyers who are pre-approved and not just pre-qualified, who shop lenders and get the best pricing and in turn get the highest approval amounts, and also who can negotiate smartly. And those who think that they may have to plan to refinance and purchase it when the time is right. Buying a home is not about predicting the market, it's about controlling the risks and positioning for long-term stability. So if you're unsure where you stand, that's exactly where professional guidance matters most. And I'm available to chat more. My website is billraponline.com. Feel free to visit there for free resources and figure out how to get a hold of me so we can talk more. Have a good day.